with human governments. As you go, said he, preach, saying, the kingdom of the heavens has drawn near. And yet, sending them out to preach such a winsome message would be putting them seemingly at the cruel mercy of wolves. Who then were the wolves? Today, Jesus' words, look, I am sending you forth as sheep amidst wolves, take in all the earth. Since A.D. 1914, when World War I broke out, how are the kingdom preachers to survive amidst wolves and still stay sheep-like, harmless, obedient to their shepherd's voice? Our shepherd has told us how. After forewarning his disciples of the wolves all around, he said, therefore, prove yourselves cautious as serpents and innocent as doves. Be on your guard against men. Is it really so that God said, you must not eat from every tree of the garden? The serpent did not have to protect itself against a wolf. Hence, it did not withdraw cautiously, but thrust its attentions upon the woman Eve. Why? To deceive. The Apostle Paul says, the serpent seduced Eve by its craftiness. The woman was thoroughly deceived, making it act craftily with the intent of injuring. Its lie induced human disobedience. Death followed to mankind. In being cautious as serpents, may we use such craftiness against wolves? In the ancient Hebrew Scriptures, we find many examples of where Jehovah's servants used caution. Among them, Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, David, and Jonathan. Did they disgrace themselves as liars in doing so? Let us examine the background of their actions. Near Egypt, Abraham told Sarah to hide the fact that she was his wife. They will certainly kill me, but you they will preserve alive. Please say you are my sister, in order that it may go well with me on your account, and my soul will be certain to live due to you. And Abraham repeated concerning Sarah his wife, she is my sister. Why? As Abraham later explained to Abimelech, king of Gerar, who had taken Sarah, it was because I said to myself, doubtless there is no fear of God in this place, and they will certainly kill me because of my wife. At every place where we shall come, say of me, he is my brother. 6,000 years ago, the serpent mentioned as being in Eden did not have to fight against a ravenous wolf. It found itself watched by an innocent, unsuspecting woman. When returning Sarah, King Abimelech gave Abraham 1,000 silver shekels and said to Sarah, here it is for you, a covering of the eyes to all who are with you, and before everybody, and you are cleared of reproach. Will you call Abraham on the above two occasions a liar and a prevaricator? But of the circumstances back there, whether in Egypt or in Palestine, Abraham was in enemy territory and needed to exercise caution. He wanted to live, to carry out God's purpose toward him. He saw good to use strategy toward those who might be provoked to injure or kill him in Jehovah's service. Women were property. They were expendable. Remember how Lot offered to let the howling mob of sodomites have his two marriageable or espoused daughters for their lust, in order to protect the lives of the two men whom he had as guests in his house. Remember, too, how the old man of Gibeah offered his virgin daughter and his guest's concubine to a like mob of Benjaminites in order to protect the religious Levite whom he was entertaining. Finally, this Levite himself took his concubine wife, whom he was taking back home, and put her outside the house at the mercy of the mob to her death. So Abraham represented Sarah as his sister to prevent violent controversy over his wife. But critics do not view it that way. They view Abraham wholly as a lying, prevaricating, weakling coward, and not a cautious strategist in an enemy land filled with wolves. May we see in this line of strategy a picture? We know that elsewhere Abraham is used to picture Jehovah God, and Sarah is used to picture Jehovah's heavenly womanly organization that produces the promised seed, the Christ. So we may see in Abraham's conduct how, over the centuries, Jehovah has seemed to repudiate his organizational wife or hide her wifely relationship to him. He withheld from her the promised seed so long, and he also lets those on earth who are her spiritual children suffer at the hands of men and devils, seemingly without divine protection. All this has given the enemy the wrong impression, and they have felt free to try to defile the representatives of Jehovah's wifely organization. But in fulfillment of his covenant respecting Christ, Jehovah has protected them amid their trying situation and has delivered them in their integrity. Jehovah always delivered Abraham and Isaac because they shunned the world. Should Rahab have led the king's officers up to the rooftop and brushed away the stalks of flax laid in rows over the men, thus exposing their concealment and thus handing them over to suffer the fate of spies? Would that have been trusting in their God to protect them? Would that have pleased Jehovah and shown she had faith in him and had adopted his cause? Did it not rather require strength of faith in Jehovah to refuse the king's command and to turn his officers away with a misdirection? Was she immorally lying there? Remember that there was war then. The enemies did not deserve to learn the truth to the hurt or endangerment of Jehovah's servants. In wartime, it is proper to misdirect the wolfish enemy. Does it condemn her? No. It commends her action as the practical proof of her faith. Called it deceptive trickery. It was, in effect, war strategy for protecting the innocent. Keep thy tongue from evil. Was there any truth in that? You will call it a lie. Why then did Jehovah's prophet tell it? That was why the prophet told what the critics would call a lie. This we will determinedly do. In carrying out our King's instructions for preaching in the field, we will follow his counsel to be cautious as serpents and innocent as doves among the wolves. We will be true to God's purpose, proclaiming it and working in harmony with it. We will be true to his word, publishing it in its purity and preaching no falsehoods in his name. We will be true to his spirit, never putting it to the test with a false, hypocritical conduct within his organization, but letting his Spirit move us to a truthful course of conduct before all his sheep. To his sheep we will speak the truth for their edification and protection, never betraying them to the fangs of the wolves. As sheep among wolves, we will keep preaching under our shepherd's care until all these wolves are destroyed at Armageddon and all his sheep are safe upon the green pastures and beside the still waters of Jehovah's new world of righteousness.